money-making, rain-making, some noteworthy title changes, and of course, Zack Sabre Jr. saying to a particular fan, "No, we're not PG, mate. Fuck off and watch the other show." A reminder that Zack Sabre Jr. is an absolute goddamn treasure when it comes to professional wrestling. And also, him calling out the British Conservative Party and saying things like, "Paying us is a living wage, dickhead." I love Zack Sabre Jr. Anyway, I'm John Rectum with my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Battle in the Valley 2023 event. Let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. And breaking out the C-Block Trophy, Jen, thank you very much for sending me this a number of years ago. I really do appreciate it, and it absolutely needed to be broken out for this event. Even though there were a few uneven parts, the good parts were really, really goddamn good. They were at the San Jose Civic, San Jose, California. I don't remember the exact capacity, 24 to 2,500 people. Some noteworthy people in attendance. And yes, I had to order the replay because one, it was requested, and two, I heard that there were a couple matches worth watching, and I'm absolutely glad that I plunked down the $20 on the Fight TV feed to watch this. Also, the reason I had to watch the replay is I worked about 10 hours, came home, watched WWE Elimination Chamber, and was so tired I fell asleep. But then I couldn't sleep that long, so I was like, fuck it. And absolutely glad I did. The women killed it. There were some other good moments. And a couple things that I had issues with, but man, New Japan really did deliver here. In fact, they over-delivered when it came to a couple things. So, apparently people that watch the show live had issues with the feed. And it was what it was. They cleaned it up as best they could. Ian Riccaboni and Matt Reinhold, I'm sorry if I got that wrong, like a Reinhold cowboy. The former Aiden English on commentary. Scott D'Amore joined for the first match, which made sense because of the Impact tie-in. Kushida, Kevin Knight, Volador Jr., and the DKC against Josh Alexander, Rocky Romero, Adrian Quest, and Mascara Dorada, who I believe is Grand Metalik, if I recall correctly, for a number of years in WWE. And it seems like they were trying to build some feuds between this because I believe Rocky Romero is a CMLL welterweight champion, if I recall correctly, and Volador Jr. wants that. So the venue looked great, and the crowd was pretty electric. And Josh Alexander and Kushida started the match. Seems like they're building towards, a big clash there. I believe Impact and New Japan are doing some kind of cross-promotion event sometime later in March, if I recall correctly. And you know what? That's going to be a pretty goddamn good match. This was, and I'm really, really happy for Kevin Knight, by the way, because he was Jet Knight when I saw him wrestling in front of like 200 people and working just as hard. I'm so happy for his success. He's uber talented, very agile, very good. This is a typical 8-man tag with the melee and people getting their shots in, and then we get a DDT variation that pins Quest 1, 2, 3. And Kushida had Alexander in the hoverboard lock. So, not a bad opener. And Volador Jr. challenged Rocky Romero, according to translations, to a hair versus mask match, even though Volador Jr. took off his mask before he wrestled. I mean, I'm certain that's something that he usually does. I'm not that familiar with the CMLL tie-in, so I do apologize. But, alright, they do like hair versus mask matches in Mexico, it seems. Scott D'Amore leaves the commentary booth, apparently was in attendance, and others in attendance were CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. Might have been interesting for him to see the next match, given who was involved, but also Bayley, Tamina, and Trinity were in attendance to support Mercedes Monet. So Fred Rosser took on Kenta for the Strong Openweight Championship, and after Filthy Tom Lawler was the Strong Openweight Champion for many, many months, Fred Rosser was finally able to beat him, and this is his 8th defense. This is also the last defense he had because Kenta won. This was pretty good. I like that Fred Rosser has been able to show his skills in the ring and, just get better. He's been able to, be more, open and just, go all out and show that he actually can be somebody that a company can put their faith in because he is a pretty good worker. And Kenta, I love Kenta's theme. I really just love Kenta's theme. And Kenta, obviously injuries have slowed him down, but he made up for it with some good heel work and everything. There was a DDT on the apron. I don't know why. They did battle in the crowd briefly. That didn't work out so well for Rosser. Kenta slows it down for a bit. Rosser does come back. There's a backdrop on the apron, the hardest part of the ring. We get a nice DDT by Kenta. Then we get a drop kick while Rosser staring up at the spotlight. We get a stomp for 2. We get a few more shots in. We get the chicken wing on, but Kenta's able to fight out of that by pulling the ref on top. And then Kenta just keeps getting the ref involved, and then eventually the STF gets locked on, but the referee is out of it. And Juice Robinson runs down with a roll of quarters and hits Fred Rosser. I thought Juice, I mean, I know New Japan and AEW are working together, but I was like, all right, I guess Juice is just back doing this. Weird. But whatever, I guess he felt he accomplished everything he needed to in Japan, so maybe he's just going to make these shots for these various big events that New Japan's going to do. They're not going to do as many I don't think they're going to do any strong tapings, or if they do, they're not going to be as often. And Rosser got beat, with the GTS 1, 2, 3. New champ, and there you go. Okay, that's fine. That's fine for what it was. We then get the Motor City Machine Gun, Sabre and Shelley against Royce Isaacs and Jor-El Nelson. So it's MCMG against the West Coast Wrecking Crew. MCMG versus WCWC. That's a lot of letters. Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship match. Good stuff. It was short. It was under 10 minutes. I'm really happy for Isaacs and Nelson. I remember seeing them wrestling in Seattle in front of like 500 people. And Isaacs worked in the NWA for a bit. Nelson is very good as well. They're a very good team. Saban and Shelley, their reputation speaks for themselves. And some good pacing. Saban eventually got the hot tag. And then we get the dirt bomb, I believe this is called, 1, 2, 3. Not bad. There's nothing noteworthy about this, but there's nothing wrong with it. By the way, the kickoff matches that I did not see because A, I ordered the replay, B, there's only so many hours in the day. Alex Coughlin beat J.R. Kratos. Coughlin looking like an early 20th century strongman. It's a good look for him. And also David Toe Finley beat Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish doing it. He remembers when the Gold Rush went to San Jose, California. In fact, he remembers when San Jose was actually just founded. He remembers when it was the Wild Wild West straight into the Wild Wild West. But nevertheless, we then get a package on Jay White and Eddie. Eddie Kingston versus Jay White. The loser leaves New Japan forever. Well, Eddie couldn't wrestle in New Japan if he lost. Couldn't wrestle any Japanese wrestlers. Jay White had already lost a loser leaves Japan match against Hikuleo. And it was obvious he wasn't going to win here. It was obvious. He's out the door. His backstage comments right after New Began in Osaka indicated that AEW, WWE, I'm not exactly sure. Watch him show up in Impact. I mean, I doubt he shows up in Impact. I doubt he leaves the spot in New Japan just to go to Impact. No offense against Impact, but he's probably going to be on a bigger stage for a lot more money. Eddie gets a good pop. The Bullet Club members apparently were banned from ringside. Otherwise, that would result in an immediate disqualification for Jay White. I stated how I felt about Jay White. This was fine. This was fine for what it was. It was nice to see Eddie get a win. I felt that this could have been about 5 minutes shorter. In fact, I kind of feel that about a couple of the matches, to be perfectly honest. I get why they gave this 20 minutes. They wanted to give Jay, that big send-off. Eddie did come back with some chops. Jay targeted the knee and then the neck, and Eddie was good at selling. Eddie, getting really, really over. And has been, he's been over with fans for a while, especially in the indies, but just since showing up in AEW, for that seemingly one-off against Cody and getting signed, I'm just happy for Eddie's success. More chops, and eye rake on Eddie, and then he returns it. And then the referee gets, knocked out of position. We get the blade, just a little bit. But then we get a Blade Runner, but Eddie rolls to the floor. We get a back fist, and Jay is just out. But Jay does manage to come back because Jay's just like, nope, I'm not done yet, bitches. And then just gets hit with a bunch more moves. Another back fist, Northern Lights driver, and then another Northern Lights driver, 1, 2, 3. And Eddie Kingston sends Jay White out of Japan. Do you think he's going to AEW? Do you think he's going to WWE? Answers in the comments, please. I mean, Jay. We already know where Eddie's loyalties lie, and I would like to see Eddie wrestle on a big New Japan show in Japan. As long as they give him a good opponent. I don't know who the hell you'd give him. Maybe him versus Suzuki. That would be interesting. But there you go. Jay gets an ovation, and David Finlay lays out Jay White and cuts a promo where he mentioned something about being a fourth-generation talent, and also how Jay had everything handed to him, and he had to just deal with it. And now he's tired of dealing with it, so he hit him in the head with the shillelagh. And I don't mind David Finlay, but this promo was messy. This was really messy. He was just killing the crowd and killing everything and saying screw California and Japan, all these places and stuff like that. And like, what are you going to do? Go wrestle on the moon? But nevertheless. Then the announcers kill time while the crew takes down the ropes for the Filthy Rules no DQ, no ropes match. So it's Josh Barnett's blood sport, basically. I like seeing Josh at the New Japan Strong tapings that I was at in January of last year. It was really cool to see him there. Tom Lawler, Filthy Tom Lawler, who I've been a fan of for a while. I got to see a little bit of him in MLW, but I really got to see him at some Defy shows. That's Defy Northwest in Seattle, Tacoma, that kind of stuff. But he did an entrance to Seal's Kiss from a Rose. And he's that much of a badass, he just doesn't care. He gets the entertainment aspect. It's Filthy Tom Lawler against Homicide. And this no DQ. Filthy Rules. Basically, pinfall, submission, or KO, I believe is how it is. But since there are no ropes, it was like just basically having a big old fight. And the story here was that Lawler felt that Homicide was a garbage wrestler and had to rely on weapons. Of course, Lawler naturally breaks out the weapons because he has to be hypocritical for that. And since it's no DQ, you can do that. The thing is, and I love Lawler, I do, he's great. Homicide, I respect the hell out of. Very unsung as far as, being a great influence in professional wrestling from Ring of Honor to TNA and all over. He's really, really good. And the fact that he's still going strong at 45, good for him. I did not like this. I did not like this at all. I mean, I understood the story they were trying to tell. This also went about 17 minutes and should have been 10. Yes, yes, there were some necessary weapon spots. But then they just kept going and going. And if I'm knocking the weapons-based matches that have happened in other companies, then I have to knock them here. And this at times wasn't that bad. There were some hard shots, but then it got agonizing. And I know that's the feud that they built, but sorry, I didn't enjoy this. We did get a trash can, chair shots to the head. I really wish they would stop doing that. And I know you can get up and do that, but just still, I cringe seeing the chair shots of the head, even in the 80s and the 90s shows. And then they use the weapon as a post. They actually use the post and the spare turnbuckle things are hanging off of there. So at one point, Dozer used the buckle in the mouth. He's fish hooking him. And then a ladder gets brought out. More stuff. And good God. At least they didn't break out thumbtacks. I'll give them that much. I was half expecting them to. And then at one point, Homicide breaks out the fork and sticks it in the boot like nyang, 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 nyang. And I know that's his thing with the fork. But just at this point, a door got brought out. Because why not? That's adorable. The Three Amigos got stopped. The DVD through the door. The crowd was popping for this. I'll give them that much credit. And then Lawler gets on the ladder. There's a chair on Homicide. He does a diving headbutt onto the chair to send it into Homicide's head. No. Stop doing the diving headbutts. There are certain moves we can take out of wrestling. The diving headbutt, the poison rana. Yeah, wrestling can be something to behold, and you can, yes, it's a high impact line of sports and entertainment and theater and athleticism, but god damn it. Oh, I don't need to see a diving headbutt anymore. And then Homicide tries to come back. He that by the way, that diving headbutt was a 2 count. He does try to come back, but he gets hit with the knee to the back of the head, and then a rear naked choke wins it. Both these guys could have told a pretty good match with a few weapon spots in a little bit shorter time, and I was disappointed. I wasn't disappointed in the guys, I was just disappointed in how this played out. Still like Lawler, and I still respect Homicide. Okay, the announcers kill time so the crew can put the ropes back up, which they do really quickly, by the way. And then a package on Zack Sabre Jr. and Crocodile Clark Connors, as I call him, because he's the wild rhino hunter. 15-minute time limit. New music for ZSJ because it's TMZSJ. That didn't work at all. Zack Sabre Jr. is a treasure. Connors has improved a lot. Got to see him at the New Japan Strong tapings. And, granted, that was just over a year ago, but still. I did love how, Zack Sabre Jr. is focusing on the body part, constantly switching because he's like, oh, I can't tap him out. I'll just wrench his ankle. And then he says, no, we're not PG, mate. Go watch the other show. Or fuck off and watch the other show. It's just so great. There's a double arm trap. Zack Sabre Jr. getting some great shots in. Connors coming back with a big spear and a big old power slam, snap power slam. And then he got a choke on, but then eventually tapped out to an arm trap. Really good stuff. Good TV match, or good TV title match. I really enjoyed this because I really enjoyed the fact it's a 15-minute time limit, so you're going to get good action and you're going to get a good story from Zack Sabre Jr. It seems like Kevin Knight might be his next challenger. Package on Kyrie Sane Kyrie, sorry. I know she was Kyrie Sane, WWE. She was Kyrie Hojo before, I think. And then it's against Mercedes Monet, the former Sasha Banks. So her New Japan debut. Entrance with dancers. I need the ad of a couple of those women. Boy, howdy. And a tribute, gear, mask, and everything to Hana Kimura, who tragically passed away 3 years ago. God, it's hard to believe it's been that long. And that was good. And that was emotional. And you could tell it meant a lot to the fans. It meant a lot to the fans online. It meant a lot to Mercedes Monet. That was good stuff. And Mercedes Monet against Kyrie, IWGP Women's Championship match. And breaking this out. Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, done good. Like they need my validation. I'm just one fan. This is good because I was worried. After that fumble with, her debut in the Dome and everything, they modified a couple things and they did some good stuff here. Because Mercedes had a long layoff. The crowd was up for this. We get a quick crossface, almost bank statement like good stuff, but no, she's like, I got you this close. At first I thought Kyrie was going to work heel, and I think she ended up working the heel, even though Mercedes is more of a natural heel here. Now Kyrie had won the championship back at I believe the Rumble on 44th Street event, so she'd only had it for just under 4 months. And had only defended it once, and that was in the Dome in a 5-6 minute match. So Mercedes, working heel here. We got some post spots, some good action, good arm focus. And, both these women tearing it up, doing some great wrestling here, as you would expect them to do. I gotta say, though, the stomp by Kyrie, it seemed like Mercedes might have gotten out of the way a little bit too soon. Like, ooh, God, that could have shattered Kyrie's knees right there. Big old spear. And then we got a drop kick in the corner, staring up at the spotlight. We got a great sliding elbow in the corner. It is great just to see Kyrie able to do what she loves to do. The split crowd, by the way. Big Meteora from the top. 1, 2, kick out. And Kyrie got a big old stretch, trapping the legs and bringing them back like that. Good shit right there. Mercedes having to fight out of that. And a back fist out of nowhere. Then we get a Bailey to belly. Good stuff. Good stuff there. And then Kyrie hits the cutlass, the back fist, and accidentally hits the ref because Mercedes pulls the ref in the way. Or inadvertently pulls the ref in the way. So this gives him the opportunity because the referee apparently took a nap for about 5 years to go outside to the ramp. And then a table got broken out, and Mercedes is like, I'm going to put her through the table. And Kyrie's like, no, I will put you through the table. And she does. That gets a big pop, which probably would have meant more maybe if they hadn't done an ODQ match a little bit before, but let's overlook that because that's not the fault of the women. 3 Amigos got stopped. More good shit. It's pretty good action. Even though I think that the referee taking that nap for a little bit longer is like, yeah, okay, all right. I know Kyrie's deadly, but come on. I mean, he is a human being. He can get back up eventually. Holy shit chance after that table spot. Elbow stopped by Mercedes, putting feet to arm. And then a frog splash got countered. And then the crossface, we're getting some good stuff here. And then eventually the Moneymaker, a modified, that flip out into a DDT or whatever the heck it is. The thing she tried to do in the dome, it didn't work. She modified it, hit it perfectly. 1, 2, 3. New IWGP Women's Champion, Mercedes Monet. And a show of respect afterwards. And that was good. Good stuff. Good stuff. I'm going to make the main event coverage pretty goddamn quick because it's Okada versus Tanahashi. Okada gained a big pop. Tanahashi gained a big pop. IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. I think it's for the last time them facing each other. At least in a feature match. Maybe they will in a G1. Holy shit chance, New Japan chance. It was their greatest hits. Okada's still got a number of years left. I know I've said about Tanahashi for a number of years, but just time catches up to everybody. He's 46 with bad knees. He can't even run across the ring from corner to corner properly. That's not his fault. He has carried New Japan on his back. He carried New Japan on his back for a number of years. And it was great that they got to do some, do their greatest hits. One high fly flow to the back. And then a second one, Okada got the knees up. Okada, he kept having to, try to beat down Tanahashi because at first he took him lightly. And then, of course, Tanahashi, being the wily veteran he is, even though Okada has plenty of big match experience, Tanahashi still was firing back, got a straight jacket plex, but then we got a drop kick out of the Aces High, Cobra Flosion, Rainmaker, 1, 2, 3. Good match, good main event. And it made sense as to why this closed the show. Okada cuts a promo. And I know, I heard Okada cut a promo, when G1 Supercard went off the air and somebody had taken a recording of it. He can speak English. That's not an issue. It's just, I was like, his English is really good. He could definitely be a crossover talent. And he speaks better English than some Americans that I've talked to be perfectly honest, where that's their first language. And then he's suggesting with Tana, how about we win the IWGP tag titles? And then he's going to make it rain. Mercedes shows up and says, hey, you like to make it rain. I'm all about making money. Why don't we team up at some point? Because they're doing more of these intergender tag matches, and you know what? Why not? That'd be pretty goddamn cool. So yeah, overall, thumbs up for the event. Again, Jen, thank you very much for sending me this. I really do appreciate it. This was a pretty good event overall. I'm glad I spent the $20, especially for the women's match. Now, the other match, there were a few other issues I had, as I mentioned, but there were some pretty good parts of this. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.